So let's talk about Lasis. When I first joined Solaris, everyone kept saying, "Hey, Liwei, you want to come do this thing?" And I didn't really know anyone when I first joined. So whenever I would go on these, as like a level 40 something, just trying to see what is it you do at level 60 plus, 70 plus. So I would come along with them. I never knew who in the group who was Liwei because no one in there was named Liwei. It was spelled Liwei, but he played a white mage. It was a joke. Leeway, white mages give you leeway, and it was a Taru. But at some point, he decided, I want to play a Hume female. The rarest choice in the game, actually, a Hume female. There was less of them than anything else in that game. There were less Hume females than Galkas. Strange. But I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be named after Lacis Klein from Gundam Seed and Gundam Seed Destiny. But he spelled it Lacis. And now, all the times I joined, as I'm progressively getting stronger, I still didn't know who was this Liwei person that everyone is always saying, "Hey, come join us." But I kept thinking to myself, man, this Lasis person is a real badass. But they never talk. They just show up. And one time, I was in the necropolis out under Battaglia Downs. And what was I? I was high enough on Paladin to basically be able to solo the mobs down there. I forget what it was even for. I think it was a key for someone's AF. I don't recall ever having AF in that horrible place, but whatever it was, we had to fight those undead deep down in the basement until something dropped. I didn't care what it was. It was an excuse for me to level up my parrying on my paladin. So heck yeah, I will go help anyone with anything no matter what it is. But it was taking a while. Damage on the ghosts and the skeletons, even with Banish giving the defense down to undead, it was taking a little longer than I wanted it to. So I just asked in Linkshell chat, I was like, hey, who wants to come to, I forget which entrance it was. The one, who cares? One of the ones toward the south. Go down there, drop down that thing, come toward this thing where that one NM pops when you trade the things to it for the Sin weapons. And Lasis just shows up. He didn't say anything. He didn't message me. Nothing. He just shows up on his ranger with a gun. He wasn't a wimpy little ranger who just piddled around with bows and arrows and shot wood. No, he was a gun ranger. When he showed up, he just killed things. And I'm thinking, Slugshot's still not going to be that good against skeletons, right? It's piercing damage versus a skeleton. How good could it be? What did I know about the way this guy played Ranger? See, when you're on lower level stuff, you don't have to bother with the expensive accuracy food because you're not going to miss. Then you can start using the attack food. That's when I learned Slugshot on lower level enemies just goes completely nuclear. It's the most stupid thing I've really seen in an MMO in terms of the way damage scaled in that game. Slugshot with a freaking gun. Wow, it was so cool. And all the while, I'm just watching this dude, switch into all of his rare EX ammunition using, what is that, infinity shot crap that Ranger could do. You had to make a macro for a single bullet. he's just like tossing that around, like, yeah, I'll do slug shot with this right after I blow this thing's head off with this rare bullet. It's like, dude, how do you afford all this? That's when I realized he got an early start in this game, right? He was teleporting people around with his white mage early on, and he used that to fund cloth craft early on. And man, if you got a head start on crafting on Final Fantasy XI early on, you always had money. I only could stomach getting goldsmithing up to 50 because I just wanted the sunglasses. Those things were rad. I leveled Thief so that I could, steal beast coins so that I could make ingots so that I could level up goldsmithing because, screw paying for that. It was less expensive to level Thief than it was to pay for the materials to level goldsmithing. And that's just a 50. But he played this game early on, way before anyone knew, hey, what's everything going to be worth? Just so happens that really cloth crafting was a good thing to invest in early on. He got to start using the Damascene cloth before anyone really understood the full potency of what a vermilion cloak could afford any type of mage, especially a paladin, even to the extent of a dark knight, even a monk subbing white mage with a vermilion cloak. That's a different paradigm. It is a different game at that point. That item changed everything. And he was on board with that. He really liked to craft those things, I'm pretty sure. Because when I was gathering my Damascene cloths, I actually soloed Aquarius. I might have to make a video about this while I'm drunk at some point. I soloed Aquarius as Paladin Warrior without any relic weapons or anything. I was still wearing level 75 adamant armor. I kited it around without W legs with a Hercules ring and a Parade Gorget for 7 hours, and that will have to be its own video. But I was so determined to just get my own Damascene cloth, get my own vermilion cloak. I had a cool friend, Setsuna. He was pretty rich just from teleporting people around 24 hours a day. He actually just gave me one of my Damascene cloths. A group of people from the Linkshell who just wanted to fight Aquarius to get the Francisca let me take one of the other Damascene cloths. And then I just went crazy on Silent Oil. Got my last Damascene cloth. And I'm like, okay, finally got my last thing. And Lasis just is like, hey, want me to sign it for you? And I'm like, dude, yeah, because you're kind of like a celebrity, to me at least, dude. And he really wanted to crit it in front of me. Like, he had all the buffs necessary of the special apron, all the equipment, every bonus you could possibly get. Did it on the correct day, facing the correct direction, every old wives' tale superstition, correct moon phase, everything. Didn't crit, but every time I would look at that vermilion cloak and see Lasis in the corner, I always remembered that not just that he crafted it for me, obviously. His name is an indication of that, for crying out loud. But I remembered all the stuff he did for us. And I've been asking people, like, hey, I know we did this Reverend Mail thing, okay? I've been asking the few white mages that I'm still in contact with, do you guys remember going to the Shen fight to do the Reverend Mail? None of them really remember being there per se, except Suspiria. I think he says he vaguely recalls it because of this one thing Lasis did. Now, the Shen fight is against a Urag Knight. It is a punk Urag Knight. It summons 2 water elementals. I should also mention, I think it was like level 90 or something. This thing was like the level of Kirin. This thing's no joke, and it's just on Bibiki Bay's island where everything's level 30, and it's a relaxing place to have fun and use weapon skills and wear bikinis with your friends because your armor doesn't matter. And by the way, Here's an ancient Chinese god of creation over here. Just try to shrimp lantern to it. I wanted to make the shrimp lanterns because I had goldsmithing up at, I thought, a high level, but I just couldn't make them. But we had enough damage dealers, we had enough people experienced with endgame that we knew we could handle the Shen fight. So it was like, hey, if you know any white mages, if you know any friends of friends, anyone who wants a reverend male, get them over here. We'll slot them into the alliance. We're gonna do the fight with them. They can take the mail. We really just want to fight hard stuff. That's all we care about. If we can help people get cool stuff in the process, that is the kind of Linkshell that we kind of became. And so I was very happy when Lasis, again, doesn't say anything, just shows up at the Beaky Bay, and he's on his ranger, summon ninja. Thank goodness for that. And so we explained to people, here's how the fight works. It's going to summon 2 water elementals. The aggro is linked to whoever Shen is targeting. So realistically, the best thing to do is, because they spawn targetable by anyone, even though their aggro is linked to the main aggro target, outside black mages and red mages can sleep them, bind them, so that the tank can move away from the bound and slept elementals to give time for them to, hey, look, you see them moving, then they stop the cast. There's time to stun. There's time to do another bind, sleep, just recycle the process and move back and forth along the shore and just beat the crap out of Shen. Then that's what we did. Everyone get 300 TP, we pop the thing, beat the crap out of it. We did that like I think about 4 times, and it all went smoothly. I was like, heck yeah, dude! I'm so glad that everyone was feeling pretty hype about this. Like, we're crushing this thing left and right. Okay. Then we got full of ourselves, and I don't remember whose Reverend Male this was for. I want to say it was Kai, Kye. He left our Linkshell a while ago, but he was a cool enough guy that it was like, bro, you were with us for a long time. Sure, come on, get your Reverend Male. And we effed up on that one. And the thing we effed up with was a Waterga 3. That's the worst thing to F up with. That's the worst thing. To not stun and not sleep. Everyone was really just kind of focused in on, yeah, we can beat this thing. This is no problem. It became a problem when 15 people died instantly, though, including me. Oops. Right? And I believe Kai was there on his Black Mage. That's kind of how I recall it. Because he kind of heroed out his own thing by sleeping one of the elementals before it cast Flood on Lasis, who was really the one who ended up with the aggro, because he was a gun ranger. But Riston, gonna have to do a video about my guy Riston. I love that guy so much. I still do his emoticon, the semicolon, lowercase x, the little kitty face. I don't know. Other people may think that's a kissy face. To me, that's just a kitty face. That's why I still use it. Riston comes in with a Horde Lullaby. Then he dies. Then it just came down to the wire. The last moment is just Lacis' decision at this point. When do you think you have enough TP for the accuracy of that slug shot to land? Because if that slug shot lands, it's guaranteed to do that last 3% of that health. And man, you see his melee weapons hitting both times, and it's like, dude, when is enough TP for you? He's got a flood coming in on him from the elemental that just killed Kai, and at that last second, Boom. Slug shot. Kills it. There it is there's the thing in the treasure pool. Everyone starts re-raising back up. Get the Reverend Mail to the guy who needs it. And that to me was like just this defining moment of, dude, Lasis is just a badass, dude. He's just this ultra rich, insane ranger who loves playing ninja. He has just this infinite amount of money, access to pretty much whatever he wants. And he's always very helpful. That that was how I saw him for a very long time. And it got better when I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to level Bard. Bard actually seems pretty cool. I got it to 25. And, it's like, dude, having MP regen. I was crafting pineapple juice and just putting it in my bazaar for 1 gil. Telling my mages, like, yo, buy this. I'm going to hit you with Mage's Ballad. You're going to get all this MP from the juice plus the Mage's Ballad. We're going to crush everything. Man, I went from numbers are a problem with me. I have dyscalculia. It's like dyslexia, but it's with numbers. So it's actually very difficult for me, strangely, to remember anything to do with numbers. I can remember all these specific details and colors, shapes, everything. But man, if you want me to remember my own phone number, nah, I gotta look that thing up every single time. But I want to say it was around 35, 37. Lasis hits me up and is like, hey, you want to play bar with these guys? I'm like, yeah, sure, where at? And he says, it's not a camp American players know about. And I was like, oh, really? All right, so where's it at? He's like, it's the zone line to Ifrit's Cauldron. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I have never had an EXP camp at the zone line to Ifrit's Cauldron. We go there, and it's nothing but like armored knight goblins. And it's a great place because they love to drop bombs all the time. You can get tons of EXP chains at the expense of the one that suicide bombs when it's at full health, kills everyone. And that happened like 7 times. But the fact that everyone would just laugh it off, they were just like, really, that many times? This is ridiculous. But they were just laughing about it. I was like, all right, these are chill people. Because in American parties, everyone would be pissed off about this. But we get back up, everything goes really smooth. We get to like level 40 in like an hour and a half. And then they're like, hey, okay, when's the next time we can get together? And man, we went from 40 to 70 in like, God, like, oh, I want to say like maybe 2.5 weeks. It was absolutely ridiculous. I felt like, yo, I found my people, right? Strange thing was, most of them just spoke Japanese, but they seemed to prefer talking in English for the most part. Anytime we were in an EXP party, everyone would talk in English. Monkari, in particular, talked a lot. He had a lot to say all the time. He was a very energetic person. And through this party with Lasis and Monkari, who I also talked about in my Bountiful video, Bountiful the Snake. Trying not to cuss all of a sudden right now. Monkari was trying to get Lasis to come to my house with 2 of the other people that we were in a static party with. So we could like play Smash Brothers and just talk about anime and just be nerds, you know? And that was kind of when I learned that Lasis had actually a lot of real life responsibilities. He ended up being in charge of his parents' mushroom farm. Edible mushrooms, not psychedelic kind. And I recall him saying something about hollowed out tree logs for a very special kind of mushroom that really could only grow in that type of condition, at least grow adequately. But it was like, okay, you know what? You obviously know a lot about growing mushrooms. That's pretty cool. But Moncari and all these other guys come to my house and they teach me how to play Smash Brothers like a pro. Uh, Moncari's ability to wave dash was absolutely ridiculous. It was like watching a tool assisted bot play the game. But nah, that guy was amazing. But there was a time when Lasis was going on, I guess, somewhat of a usual trip for him, that his grandma would invite him to Japan to stay at their house in Tokyo. If you don't know, having a house in Tokyo, that's pretty crazy. That's when it clued me in that, okay, this guy's whole family just constantly has money and they work hard for it. I'm not saying it just falls into their laps. But he invited us to go on a tour of Japan to see the things that you don't normally see. And wow, there's a lot of really shady, lascivious, obscenely sexual things that go on in Japan. And he just wanted to show us as just like, yo, look, this is something that you will never see. No one will ever advertise things like this. Things like blowjob bars, where it's like, hey, sit at this special bar, wink, wink, and pay $50 a beer, and if you're not if you're not drinking this thing within 15 minutes and ordering another one, you get out of the chair. Yeah, that's a thing that exists. And he wanted to show us his favorite, like, adult store. It was this 4-story building that every floor, all 4 floors of the building, were owned by the adult business. And at the bottom floor, when you walk in, it's like, here's the adult books, right? Here's all the erotic manga and stuff like that. All the local hentai doujinshi artists, sell their stuff in like this place. Then you go up to the second floor. That's where all of the sex toys and the lubricant and all of the more direct intercourse related things are on the second floor, away from public view. And then you get to the third floor. And on the third floor, there is just like a bunch of glow in the dark stickers all over the ceiling. There's a lot of black lights. There's a lot of red lights. That's where all of the full body anime costume suits, the latex suits, things like that, the furry costumes, a lot of really cosplay related things that are also related to bondage. And then the top floor, the fourth floor, is only illuminated by various strobe lights. um, he didn't really want to explain to us what was on that floor other than that. So that one is a mystery to me. I did not go on the mystical tour of Japan's dripping underbelly. Everyone else in the static party did. I had to take care of my father, who was, dying in bed with like a brain tumor on his frontal cortex lobe. So that wasn't like the best time of my real life. It's kind of why I was so invested into, the video game. Because my real life was kind of driving me nuts emotionally. So it was a good escape for a lot of reasons. But I couldn't abandon being my dad's caretaker to go on a sex tour of Japan with a bunch of weirdos I met on Final Fantasy 11. But we played for a while. We got all the way to 75. We did tons of merit points together, which was really cool because at that point, Moncari's like, I'm going to bring out my Adamant Halberg warrior with a freaking Riddle and just let's do Rampage every 5 seconds because why not? and having that kind of just raw power boosted by a bard, that was a fun time. But then everyone decided, we've been meriting for like months, dude. Let's level a different job. And it was kind of a consensus of like, okay, look, let's say within 2 months, we're gonna start around level 50. Okay. So I was like, okay, I think I want to do samurai because I have a Soburo Sukihiro, the katana that attacks 2 to 3 times, occasionally, constantly. And, I had the stupid underwear from that awful place in Chains of Promathia that you can trade for the level 50 body armor. Had that body armor restore TP plus 9, which back then when TP cap was 300, zero point 0.9 extra TP per hit when your weapon is constantly attacking. It adds up. It's pretty sweet. I had actual Ochudo's Kote. I had actual Fuma Kiahan before they turned Rare EX. I was like, yo, my samurai is ready to go. I just need to get to level 50. And so I leveled it up. I had a bunch of parties that were pretty good. And then I just got to level 49. And then no invites. Another day goes by. No invites. And I'm just like, okay, I have to solo this then. So I got on my samurai, I sub white mage, and I started watching the movie The Wizard with Fred Savage, which is my favorite movie ever. Playing it on the background. And then I spent 1.8 million gil over a period of 15 hours on Yagoro drinks and pineapple juice just to fuel my white mage sub so I could cast Regen on myself because Dancer sub did not exist yet. And I soloed the entirety of level 49 to 50. And the very first party we all get together to do, I make the genius decision that I'm going to put my EXP ring on and I'm going to use it even though we just pulled a mob, and it's usually not a good idea to do that. And then the undead dog comes up, everyone starts hitting it. I start using my EXP ring. The dog does an AoE paralyze, cancels my ring, uses the charge, and puts it on a 24-hour cooldown. And I don't get the EXP bonus because the dog paralyzed it. I learned from that point forward to always use that ring way in advance. Just do it because, man, losing that charge really sucked. But we started tearing everything up, just violently. And I remember Moncari at one point when we're fighting Colibri. He's just like, this is complete garbage. It is so unfair that I just do like one weapon skill and this bird wants to rip my head off, but you're over here doing, Tachi, whatever the crap, 5 times a second, and it never hits you. You're doing more damage than I am, but it's never attacking you. And I'm just like, I love the Soburo Sukihiro. Oh, I love the Soburo Sukihiro. This is the best. It was just this perfect balance of raw damage, but the increments that it delivered it in were never enough to draw aggro away from the tank. Versus a Dragoon, the superior piercing damage against the Colibri, the way its damage played out was that it would pull aggro off the tank and then get brutally destroyed, and the white mage has to panic heal them. But no, the Soburo Sukihiro, you don't understand the glory of that perfect katana. Even at level 75, when I had Dancer sub and I eventually inherited our Linkshell's kid in Osode, I started just destroying Elder Gobus as samurai solo because of Dancer sub and the Soburo Sukihiro, the most amazing katana. It was always good. Loved that thing. And Lasis and I, we stopped like talking so much after we weren't like EXPing together, but it was a group of us that talked in Ventrilo for quite some time before my computer exploded, basically. The power supply just completely died. And at that point, it was like, uh-oh. Well, I guess I can't use Ventrilo anymore. Because I was a PS2 player. And I just wanted to just do my own thing at that point. I had leveled so many jobs that I was content to just drift off into my own little world. But I'll always remember Lasis as just this ultra rich guy who was super talented at just everything he set his mind to in real life and in video games. But he never freaking talked. The weird thing was, when you got a like voice in Ventrilo, he talked very frequently. He had plenty to say. But he just didn't like to type all that much. He liked to just do things. And that is the kind of person I remember him as. He just did things. He didn't talk about doing things. He just did them. He was that kind of person. Also, man, Gun Rangers were sick, dude.